Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today, this is technically yesterday when I'm recording this, I guess. I'm trying to get a couple of videos all set up in one day so I can have some time to get in back into a normal routine here. But anyway, um, this one is a rule set we haven't done a whole lot. Nabner Lines, which is I'd like to try to get as much of that stuff in as I can when you don't see quite a lot of them at one time. Now, actually, this combination, I think there's been a few there's been a few puzzles I've seen recently that had this kind of combination of rule sets. Now, this is from I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but like I said, I'm just trying to get back into things here, so I'm kind of a little behind. But it's, like I said, it's something that I don't tend to have on the channel often, so I like to try to get those on here. So with that said, let's take a look at this thing, and of course the link will be in the description below. So this one is called Nabnerix by Sujoyku. We just done one by Sujoyku recently, actually, as well. So a little double dose of Sujoyku for us this week, I guess. Anyway, we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Then we've got our Nabner lines. So the golden lines are Nabner lines, i.e., on such a line, there may not be consecutive or repeated digits. The way I like to think about this is kind of like the negative or the anti-Renban line. And that's kind of why it's called Nabner. If you look at the way it's spelled backwards, you'll understand that. So anyway, what it essentially just means is that these four digits, whatever they are, they cannot ever be consecutive and they cannot ever repeat. So if you were to put, let's say, a 1 here, you can now never put a 2 in any of these. So let's say you put a 5 here. Now we can't put a 4 or a 6 anywhere. Let's say this is an 8, and then you could put like a 3 here to finish this thing off. And that would be a valid Nabner line. Then we have X sums. So clues outside the grid indicate the sum of the first X digits in the respective row or column where X is the first digit seen from the clue. I've seen a couple of them do this on a diagonal. I've seen some do it horizontally and vertically. This one is a horizontal and vertical version. So in this particular one, we're looking at, let's say, this 19 clue. Whatever this digit is, let's just say it's a 3. It means that these 3 digits must all add up to that 19. Now, if you change whatever this digit ends up being, it could be 4, 5, whatever. Whatever that digit is going to tell you how many of the clues with starting from here going this way are going to be used for the sum that we need to get to. So anyway, that's it. It's not too complicated. A couple of, like I said, not highly unusual, but haven't seen some of these, or haven't done some of these in the most recent past, so it looked like a good thing to jump onto. So anyway, I think I said it before, link is in the description below if you all want to play along. Let's get into this thing. So typically, when I'm thinking about an X sum, I would either consider doing a high digit, like a 35 is quite nice, or a low digit, 10 wouldn't be too bad. Because, and especially in this version where we're looking at horizontally and vertically, we can say that the digits that are creating these values are all going to be different digits because Sudoku is providing that for us. So we know we have to get up to, let's say, this 35, and we have to do it in a certain number of digits. Well, there's going to be we have to go at least so far to be able to ever get up to a 35. Now, of course, we can't ever put, let's say, a 9 on this thing because we can't ever use all of the digits and only clue up to 35. That would obviously be 45. Similarly, you can't use 1, 2, 3 or something like that in this particular case because we wouldn't have enough room. So there's going to be a point, I think, where we're going to be able to put some digits in these guys. And it looks like these, all of these clues seem to correspond to each other. Maybe that's the right way to put it, on a Nabner line. So that could very well be an important clue to work with. So I think I'll start with the low ones for the moment, and we'll see where we go from there. So this 10 clue, we know it's either a 2, 3, or 4. There's nothing else it can be because we can't ever go to 5 digits. We can't ever get 1. So that'll be the first thing we can actually say. And none of these could ever have a 1 because you can't have a 1 add up to any of these things by itself. Now, in this 10 clue version, we can't ever have a 5 because if we did, we'd have to add 5 digits together. And if the bare minimums are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, well, those add up to 15. So that doesn't work. So we're looking at 2, 3, or 4. In this case, we're looking at either 3 or 4, because we can't put a 2 here, because if we put a 2, we have to have a 2 plus a 10 to equal 12. Now, so this is where I was starting to say where these guys are interacting with each other. So what we know is that if this is a 3 or a 4, this can never be a 3 or a 4, because they would therefore be on a Nabner line, and they would be consecutive, and that can't happen. So this just has to be a 2. And if this is a 2, this can now not be a 3, so it has to be a 4. Now, if we know this is a 2, this has to be an 8, because we can only use 2 cells to add up 10. You can see what that does there. If this is a 4, now we have to be able to get these 3 digits up to a 12. So the possibilities are going to be from what? I think we've got 6, 7. We can go up to a 5 as possibilities, because if we ever have a 5 on here, we're already up to 9, so we'd have to put a 1 and 2 on it to get to our 12. Now, I'm sure we can probably reduce these even further. Now, if we didn't have a 5 on it, does that even work? It doesn't, actually, so we have to have the 5. And because if we didn't have a 5, we'd have to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. That only adds up to 10. So there has to be a 5 on it. Therefore, there has to be a 1 and a 2 on it, which means there is no 3. So we get a 1, 5 pair, and this has to be a 2. Then, what can we say? Well, I was going to look at this Nabner line further about this one, but it's not quite as useful at the moment, because this could be a lot of things. The only thing it can't be is a 3 at the moment, like I said, but we still have some of these other digits here that we could get into. And I didn't like the fact that my mic just seemed to spike there. I'm going to keep my eye on it just to make sure my audio issues don't come back to plague me. So I think the next thing to look at is going to be maybe how these 19s interact. Because again, we can't have 1s or 2s. We could very well have a 3. What's the most we can ever get to is 5, right? Because we can't ever do a 6, because once again, we're going to look at if we had 6 digits, we'd have to put all 6 onto a 19. The bare minimum you can get from 6 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That equals 21. So that ain't going to cut it. Now, because the only options for both of these are 3, 4, 5, and they're both on the same Nabner line, this can't ever have a 4 on it, because the 4 would be consecutive with both the 3 and the 5. So this is just a 3, 5 pair. So one of these is a 3, one of these is a 5. So can we figure out which one can be a 3? Because if we have a 3, the other 2 digits have to add up to 16, because we have to be able to get up to 19 in the 3 cells. So therefore, we're looking at a 9, 7 pair. So this is this one, didn't mean to do that. This one is a 9 or a 7, because one of these 2 is going to be going here. Now, if it's a 5, can it ever go into a 9? Because we'd be up to 14. You'd only have, that can't ever work. So the 5 cannot ever hit with a 9, no matter which way you look at it. Let's say this one was the 5. You're going down this way. You'd have to be up all of those digits, but this is a 9 and you've used the 5. You're already up to 14. So you only have 5 left. We can't make 5 in 3 separate digits. So this is always a 7. And then one of these 2 is the 9. Now, what are the remaining then? Because we know we have 5. One of the 2 is a 5 and it has a 9, 7. We don't know which way it goes. The other one is a 3 and it absolutely has a 7 with it. So therefore, the other digit that goes with... Oh, wait, no, sorry, I said that backwards. I've got a way to say I just screwed myself. One of these is a 3, and it goes with the 7 and the 9. The other one must be a 5, and it goes with the 7. So that we're already up to a 12, which means we have to get 7 more. The only way to do 7 in 3 digits is, because again, we'd have to have 3 extra digits, no matter which way you look at it, is 1, 2, and 4. Well, that forces this to not be a 5, because we can't ever do a 2. And if this was a 5, this would actually be a 1, so we couldn't do a 1 or a 2 on it. So this can't be our 5. This has to be our 3. This has to be our 9. So this has to be our 5. And then these have to be from 1, 2, and 4. This can't be a 2. Cool. Now, we still have our Nabner lines and things that could and couldn't go into them, but we're kind of, I think we're going to have to come around the entirety of our puzzle here to kind of get to them in terms of how they're going to break out. Same goes with some of these intermediate Nabner lines, because they're at the current time, there's not really a ton of information you can put into them. I mean, I guess we could look at this clue and say it has to be from, 3, 6, 8, or 9, but that still leaves plenty of options for the rest of these. So I guess we're going to have to start looking at some of the smaller or the higher digits now and see if they have interactions with each other. Now, again, we know we can't have 1, 2, and we can't have, can we ever have 3? We can have a 3. The 3 is possible. I know it can't go here. I'm going to just get through all of the possibilities, then remove as needed. We can have 4. We can have 5. The 22 could be a 6. The 20 cannot. Because again, like we said, if this was a 6, the 6 digits with bare minimum values is up to 21. So we can get rid of, and let's get rid of 3 now here. So these are our possible options. Now we also know we have a 1, 2, 4 looking at this, and we have a 5 looking at it. So this is a 3. Now, if it's a 3, it just encompasses these guys, and we know these 2 digits must add up to 17, therefore they must be 9 and 8. It's going to give us this digit now. So in the end, we did get there. This one we've said has to be what? A 6. There we go. I can scan wonderfully. Okay. Now, this one we still can't quite make a determination, I don't think, as to where it could go. And I guess we can say it can't be a 6, right? Because if we have a 6 here, we're looking at all of these digits. So we have to include the 8 or the 9, whichever one it actually is. But if, even for the lowest case, we're looking at a 14 there. And then these 4 digits have to add 8, which can never happen. So this can't be 6. We did get to reduce that a little bit for the moment. Oh, and this 3 actually here is going to tell us. This 3, it's on a Nabner line. I should have looked at that first. This can't be 4. Well, actually, I had to rule out the 6 as well, because it would have left a 5 or a 6 possibility, but this can't be 4, so it is 5. Now, if it's 5, we want to run through what our possibilities are. Because if it's a 5 and with an 8 on it, we know we're at 13. We've got to get 9 more. There's multiple ways you could do that. And then if it's 5 with a 9, we have to have 8 more. And there's multiple ways you could do that. So I don't necessarily think that's a great place to start or to look at next. Yeah, I don't think it quite is. So maybe we'll move over again and start looking at these guys. Now, this is going to be an interesting one on this 35 clue. Let's start with the 14, because we've already kind of done some of the same logic on some of these other ones. Excuse me. This can't ever be a 1 or a 2, and it can't go up to a 5. So it's either 3 or 4. Again, the reason, if we didn't have this 5 here, the reason this can't be a 5 is because 5 digits at a bare minimum would equal to 15. We can't get there. Now, let's see if there's an interaction here with this 35. And I don't think there will be, actually, because this 35 clue has got to be pretty big, right? 21 is 6, 28 is 7. Who's texting me? Go away. 8 would be what did I just say? 28, it would be 36. We can't get up to 8. That would be too much. So this has to be somewhere in the vicinity. Obviously not 1, 2, 4, 3, or 5. So this has to be from 6 or 7. Okay. And again, if this was, I don't know that we're going to have enough to say with whether this could be 6 or 7. And again, yeah, these two do not interact currently. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything that would make sense for that one to wean it down to something else, but I don't think it does. Maybe we need to start getting into some of this middle of the rotation type of Nabner lines and see if they give us anything further. Okay. The first place I would think to look would be here. Excuse me. Because we've got quite a few of these digits already. So we know this could be, well, let's just look at the 3 digits first, then we'll come back. It could be 1, can't be 2, 3, it could be 4, it could be 5, or it could be 6. So these can only be from 1, 4, 5, and 6. This can't be a 1 because the 2 is on the Nabner. Do we get anything further out of that? Let's think about it for a second. Don't think we do. Because again, there's not enough digits to really say, yeah, all of these are at max 4. If we ever had a Nabner line that was a 5-cell Nabner line, you could make an immediate determination about what those could be. Because if you have to have digits that don't ever repeat and cannot be consecutive, and you have 5 of those digits, well, there's only 5 digits within the balance of 1 to 9 that can work in that sort of role. That'd be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, all of the odd digits. But the second you come down to 4, it starts to open up the game book. Or the playbook, however you want to think about it. And, of course, my dog decides she wants to go crazy. Oh, boy. It's never a dull moment, I swear. So what? Can we get ourselves to think straight while she's barking to figure out what the heck we're doing here? That's a good question. Maybe there's more that I could do here because we do have a limitation, and maybe some of these other ones might have some limitations as well. This one could be a 1, can't be 2, can't be 3, can't be 4, can't be 5. It could be 6 or 7. So not really. I feel like there's somebody at my door and my wife's handling it. That's why the dog's going crazy. Hopefully she doesn't need me for that. We shall see. What else can I look at here? We've finished essentially all of these. The only thing we haven't really done was this one. Like I said, there's multiple possibilities of what this could be. Sorry, I'm trying to halfway listen to a conversation that I can't hear going on down there. Probably somebody trying to sell something or somebody with political motivations. But anywho, so what were the possibilities? If this was 9 and 5, we're looking at, that's 14, so we've got 8 left over. It would have to be from 1, 3, and 4. If we were looking at it being 8 and 5, we're looking at 9 left over. It could be 2, 3, 4. Or it could be 1, 2, 6. Because it couldn't be 1, 3, 5. That's not great. This can't be 3, of course. This can't be 6, of course. So we always have to have a 1, which is possibly interesting, but possibly not. No, it could always be 2, 3, 4. That's right. I forgot about that 9 possibility. Okay. All right. So I've hit a little snag here, and I've got to figure out how to get out of it. Is there something that can be reduced in some of these options? I don't think there really is. Again, in these guys, there doesn't seem like there's a whole lot that may be reduced either. So maybe there's options that we need to explore and what the 3 or the 14 could be. Because if it's a 14 and a 3, these guys have to equal to 11. Does that somehow remove the let's look at math. How about that? Okay, I think that's an easier way of doing it, just thinking about straight math. I know it's one of my strong points. You all very well aware of my strength in math. We know that this takes up these 5 cells, and this is a 22 clue. So if this was a 4, it would take up these, and it's a 14 clue. That gets us up to a total of 36. Can we see where the problem is here? We certainly can. 36 is not enough. We have to get to 45, so this has to be 3. Now, if that's 3, we know these are 14, these are 22, and again, we're up to our 36. We have to get to 45, so this has to be a 9. Therefore, we get an 8 and a 9. Now, that's kind of, I wouldn't say worst case scenario, but it's it doesn't quite help us as much, I think, as if this was the 9, it would have cemented what these could actually be. Because we're looking at a 5 and an 8, we're at a 13, these have to equal 9, so it's either going to be 2, 3, 4, like we said, or 1, 2, 6, which leaves all of the possibilities open. Well, actually, it can't be 2, 3, 4 now that I think about it. So this has to just be 1, 2, 6. So let's put those in. Oops, I hit the wrong button. 2 and 6. And this can't be 6. So there we go. Now, I guess we know what these 2 digits have to be. We could have also kind of looked at on the opposite side, the 14. Maybe that would have determined something, but I don't know. It probably would have, right? Because we would have known the 5, 8, and 9 couldn't be used. So this ends up being, what, 4 and 7? And that, of course, does equal 14. That 4 here gives us 7 and 4. And then that 7 is going to give us our 6. So there we go. Now we've got these guys sorted out. All right, so let's see if we can finish our X sum type of clues. Because we know all of these must be incorporated into the 35. You could have also looked at some of the opposing digits here as well to kind of there might have been some way to sort out how they could overlap, because obviously there had to be an overlap between these guys and these guys. Because this is 35 and 12, that would have gotten us to 47. So that would have been another way possibly to look at it. But we do know there has to be a 3 up here. Do we know anything else? I guess we technically don't. I mean, we can just say what these digits are, and we'll add them up and make sure they equal 35 once we get up to here. So they have to be from, again, 3, 8, and 9. And this can't be 3 or 9, so that's 8. Let's get rid of those then. There we go. So let's do a quick math here. See if these do add up to 35. We've got 14, 21, 30, 33, 35. Yes, it does. So good. So we now have all of our X sums essentially figured out. So we're going to have to start jumping into either base Sudoku or working our Nabner lines a little harder. Let's see. Okay, we can do some Sudoku because none of these can be 3s, but this also can't be a 3, this one here, because it would be consecutive. So this is 3. 3 has to go in one of these 2, and it can't go here again because it would create a consecutiveness. Continue to pretend that's a word. It might actually be, but I'm not quite sure. One of these is a 3, one of these is a 3. Those you can't quite be ruled down yet. What else do we have that might be of use? One of these has to be a 4. One of these is a 5, but the middle one can't be because it would be consecutive with 6. What else can we say? I don't think there's any more there. One of these must be a 6, so therefore this can't be, which means we get a 1-2 pair. Wait, did I do that right? No, I didn't. Let's not be dumb. For some reason I was thinking this couldn't be a 6, but it certainly can be. So either we have the 6 be in one of these two, because it can't go here, or it's up here. All right, good thing I didn't make that mistake there. And we'll see if the 8s and the 9s, because we have a few of those now. Let's see if they do anything for us. Don't think so. Not on the 8s, at least. These is a 9. Yeah, I don't quite see anything there. Okay, so let's look at our Nabners again and go through the options. We know what these 3 digits have to be. They have to be from 6, 7, and 9. That did nothing. Awesome. Now this can't be a 6 anymore because of the 5 here. So let's get rid of that. And, okay, what about these guys? They can't be from 1 or 2, because that would break this one. They could be 3. They could either be 4. They can't be 5, 6, or 7. One of them could be an 8. So 3, 4, and 8 are the only options. This can't be 8. And if this is a 3 or a 4, this can't be a 3 or a 4. So this has to just be an 8, because then you'd have a 3-4 pair. Doesn't work on a net. This is 8. Then that causes this to just be a straight up 3-5 pair. Too bad that 8 doesn't actually tell us anything down here. And 8s now. Yeah, and it's not quite. I'm trying to find things where there's Nabner lines kind of looking at each other, or areas where we have digits that are looking onto a Nabner. See if there's any kind of reductions we can make there, similar to how we did this kind of thing. So we might have to dig a little deeper into them. Now, these could be from 1, not 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. 7 is possible on one side, 8 and 9. We'll get rid of the 7, 9 here. Actually, that can't be 8. Okay, so this is just a 1. That's interesting. Let's look at that again just to make sure. It could be a 1. It can't be a 2 because of the Nabner. Can't be 3 because of the region. Can't be 4 because of the Nabner. Can't be 5 because of the region. Can't be 6 because of the Nabner. Can't be 7 because of Sudoku. Can't be 8 because of Sudoku. Can't be... Yeah, so it's just a 1. Okay. Therefore, this is not a 1. This is not a 1. That 1 gives us our 5 and our 1. Therefore, these guys are not 1s. And one of these two must be. This can't be 8 because of Sudoku. So one of these two is actually a 1. And that 1 here actually sees down here and does a bunch of good. So this is 7. Got a 3-5 pair going with the rest of these. So we've got these 3 digits have to be from 2, 4, and 6. The only place a 4 can possibly go is here. Therefore, this has to be either a 2 or a 6 as well to finish that off. Seeing if there's anything here that would work. This goes from 2, 4, 6, or 8. but not too useful. So maybe let's find another Nabner line because it seems to be working out here. So let's keep on them. Ones are possible. Twos, threes, fours, fives, sixes are not. Sevens are not, sorry. And then eights and nines. This cannot be an 8. This can't be a 9. So one of these has to be a 1. The other one is either the 8 or the 9. So make sure I didn't miss anything obvious here. Oh, there's a 9 over here. So this is our 1. There we go. This has to be an 8. Cool. So that does keep working. It's kind of interesting how those are all kind of interacting with each other. Therefore, this is a 1 now because of that guy. This is from 2 or 6 to finish the region off. And maybe we can get something into this one before we start looking at these Nabners. Let's just do it real quick just to make sure. So we need 2, 5, and 9. Yeah, here we go. Those can't be 2s, so this is a 2. This is a 9, and this is a 5. That 9 will get rid of these 9s. Therefore, this is not a 9. I'm sorry, it is a 9. That's what I meant to say. That might do something here, but let's just look at these guys real quick first. This has to be from 1 and 4. Okay. Now let's look at this guy. Can't be 1 because of Sudoku. Can't be 2, 3, 4, or 5 due to Nabnering. Could be 6 or 7. Cannot be 8 or 9 due to Nabner. This 4, 5, 6 means this can't be 6. That's 7. There we go. 6 and 7. That's 6 sees this, so it's a 2. That's a 4. That's a 1. That's a 2. That 2 is going to see this 6 and 2. And we are schmovin'. All right, let's look at these two digits. What are they going to be? 8 and 6. So we can put those in. That's 8. That's 6. These two digits have to be from 1 and 9. 1, 9. I guess we know what these two are. These 3 are as well. We might as well take a look at it because one of those is on a Nabner. So these have to be from 2, 3, and 8. Seems to be this can't be 2 or 3 because of the Nabner. So let's get those sorted. Alrighty. That did not affect this one, but it might affect something down here. So let's go back to our Nabners and see what we can do. Not a 1, not a 2, 3, 4. Could be 5. Could be 6. Can't be 7, 8, or 9 because of the combinations of Nabners and Sudoku. So this is just either a 5 or a 6. If this is a 5 or a 6, this can't be a 5 or a 6. So the Nabner does prevail. This has to be 4. Okay. Just looking at 4s to see if they were useful here. They don't quite get somewhere, but that's okay. If this is a 4, that forces this to be a 6. We can't have the 5 on it. And then these two are going to be given digits now. Well, not given, but we know what the options are for them. They have to be from 5 and 7. That does relate to that region. All right, so there's probably something we can do on one of these Nabner lines now. Doing a quick scan. Oh, the 1 here. Make sure I wasn't missing any Sudokus that could be helpful before we got into that sort of thing. And let's take a quick look here as well, because these have to be from 4, 7, and 9. Okay, there was nothing on that. That's useful at the moment. All right, so let's take a look at this Nabner, I guess, first, before we go back into Sudoku. I guess that's 6. We can get rid of the 6 here. And we do know what these guys, so maybe I'm just going to go back into Sudoku. These are 3, 4, and 6. This can't be a 4. And that does appear to be all we have there. What about down here? We need to have 5, 7, and 8. This can't be 8, so this can't be 7. Those are these guys. Okay. Thought we might end up with some sort of double or something, but we don't, so we're going to have to move on. Let's go let's really go into the Sudoku here for a second. Just a real quick look. Well, we actually have an X-wing on ones. I didn't notice until I just did that. So none of these can therefore be ones, because these are in the X-wing, and these two other ones are on just basic Sudoku rules, so this has to be a 1. That 1 does not interact with anything, though. And that's going to leave our X-wing of 1s left over. Okay, the 2s are going to help, because it's going to create another X-wing. So we can say that none of these are 2s, so one of these 2 must be a 2. Well, that gives us X-wings on 2, so this can't be. So this is 3 and 2. And that 3 didn't do as much as hoped, but that's fine. What about these guys then? Since now we're starting to really get this thing down to a kind of a base section of what it could be. We have left over, okay, go away, phone. 3, 5, 6, and 8. This can't be 6 or 8. This can't be 5 either because of our Nabners. There we go. So this is 3. That's going to give us our 6. This is not 3 or 6. That 6 here gives us 4 and 3. Therefore, this has to be a 1 to not be offending our Nabner. That'll finish our X-wing of 2s. 1 here is going to finish these guys up. 5, 6 has not quite been finalized, but it'll get there shortly. I'm sure of it. And just making sure there wasn't any basic Sudoku we had going on here before we start looking at our final Nabner. And what can we put in here? Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess it could be 7, 8. No, it can't be 8. It's either 7 or 9. So we do end up with a double of 7 9s here now. So this has to be 5, which is going to force a lot of things to open up. So that's 8. That's 7. That 5 gives us our 3 in our 5. This is going to be a given digit on this row, so it has to be 6, which is going to then break up a lot of this other stuff. This is 5, this is 6. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another voiceover. My audio obviously kicked out on me here for a second, so I'm just going to come back in and give you the last few moments of audio. So clearly I've pretty much finished everything, so this is now just finishing up the last few bits of what needs to be said. So obviously we have a 4 or 5 left over here, and therefore we can say that the 4 goes there, the 5 goes there, and that's going to finish off our 9 and our 4, and therefore our 9 and our 3. And yay, we've completed the puzzle. The solution is correct. And in a couple seconds, I am going to realize that my microphone cut out on me, and then I am going to signal to you as such that I have realized it. There we go. You can see the disappointment on my face. But then we're going to get right back into it here in a second. I'll let my past self finish. Now, thank you. Of course, my mic decided to cut out right towards the end there. And I swear if this had been down for a few minutes and all of that was missed, I'm going to be very annoyed. But what I was trying to say was, first off, we finished the puzzle. Congratulations. Secondly, this thing had a really good flow to it. Once we kind of got into what the possibilities of these X sums as they related to the Nabners, it really started to work out great. If I have to do a little voiceover on this thing, I will, of course, but I hope you all enjoyed this puzzle. I certainly did. It turned out quite lovely. As always, sujoyku puzzles are always fun. So hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.